I'm 38M, and my wife, let's call her Sabrina, 33F. And I have been married for 2 years. We dated for about 3 years before that. To be honest, marriage was something she wanted more than I did. But I agreed because I wanted to make her happy. About a year ago, we started trying for a baby. Again, that was mostly her idea. I went along with it, but after months of trying and failing, it started to take a serious toll on me mentally. Around that time, Sabrina also started changing. She became colder, harsher, sometimes even straight up cruel. I tried to deal with it, told myself she was just stressed, but it kept getting worse to the point where it became unbearable. Eventually, I decided to get checked by a doctor while we were still trying to conceive. A few days later, I got the results. I'm infertile. That news completely broke me. Even though having kids wasn't originally my dream, somewhere along the way I had started imagining myself as a father. I actually wanted it. So hearing that I could never have children, that was the worst news I had ever received at that point. But somehow, things were about to get even worse. I didn't know how to tell Sabrina. I was honestly afraid of her reaction. She had already been treating me badly, and I couldn't imagine how she would respond knowing that what she wanted most might never happen with me. So I waited a few days trying to gather the courage. But she beat me to it. For days after I found out I was infertile, she sat me down and said she had really important news. My heart dropped. I thought she somehow found out. But no. She smiled and told me she was pregnant. I was completely stunned. She had no idea what I was thinking, and she immediately started celebrating. I forced myself to play along so she wouldn't suspect anything. The next day, I went back to the doctor just to be absolutely sure. Same results. Still infertile. That's when everything clicked. If I can't have kids, then that baby isn't mine. There was no way she could have done any kind of medical procedure behind my back. I'm the only one working, and those things cost money. Which meant only one thing. She was cheating. The thought was so insane and disturbing that I didn't act on it immediately. I just froze for a few days while she happily planned a full-on pregnancy announcement party. She looked genuinely happy, and I was falling apart inside. I didn't tell anyone. Not my family, not my friends. This felt too personal, too humiliating. And I didn't confront her either. Not yet. I needed to know the truth, specifically who the father was. Because if I confronted her too early, she could just lie or disappear, and I'd never know. I got my answer at the party. There were a lot of people, family, friends, even some of my coworkers. And then there was our neighbor. Let's call him Noah, 27M. He lives right across the street from us. Young, good-looking, honestly better looking than me, probably better looking than most people. He's trying to make it in the modeling industry. My wife always had a soft spot for him. She would cook for him and his aunt when he first moved in. He came over for dinner a few times. He's educated, polite, and he and Sabrina bonded quickly, since they both share an interest in literature. I never had a problem with him. I trusted her. But when he walked into the house that day, something felt off. Sabrina lit up the second she saw him. She went straight to him and hugged him longer than anyone else. No one else seemed to notice, but I did. And in that moment, I knew something was going on. I needed proof. So I pretended to go to the bathroom, but instead I went to our bedroom and opened her laptop. A few days earlier, I had already checked her phone while she was asleep. Nothing suspicious. But her laptop was different. Whenever I was around, she was always using it, typing or reading something. Whenever I asked, she would turn the screen away and say she was working on her novel. This had been going on for months, and I respected her privacy. Until now, because at this point I was almost sure there was no novel. Just a cover. Luckily, there was no password. I got in easily. After searching for a bit, I found a second email account. That's where everything was. Messages between her and Noah. Love confessions. Emotional messages. Back and forth. Then I found the one that made my stomach drop. She told him she was pregnant. He didn't take it well at first. He seemed upset, and their messages stopped for a while. Probably because he wanted out. But she didn't. Then I found the worst message of all. She wrote that she had talked to a friend who was a lawyer, and that she planned to file for divorce after the baby was born. Her plan? Get child support, alimony, and then, after a few months, leave with him and start a new life. I felt sick reading that. Even now, just thinking about it makes me nauseous. But I didn't lose control. I took photos of everything, every message, every piece of evidence. And then I made a decision. Cheating is one thing, but trying to trap me into raising another man's child, and then use me financially to fund her future with him? That's on a whole different level. So yeah, call me crazy if you want, but I decided to play along. For the next 9 months, I acted like the perfect husband, the perfect future father. I went to every doctor appointment, made sure she took her vitamins, supported her in every possible way. It was hell, knowing she was lying to me every single day. But the more she lied, the more determined I became. A few days ago, she went into labor. I drove her to the hospital myself. I called her parents ahead of time, but not mine. I didn't want them there if things got ugly. We had about an hour alone before they arrived. That's when I decided to drop the bomb. She was in the delivery room, safe. I told her I was going to step out and call Noah so he could come. She looked confused, started saying that wasn't necessary, that she didn't want anyone else there. I just smiled. Then I showed her my fertility test results and the divorce papers I had already filed. Her face, I'll never forget it. I explained everything, that I couldn't be the father, that I knew about the emails, that I knew everything. That moment when it finally hit her was unreal. I walked out while she was still trying to process it. I called Noah and told him, "She's in labor," hung up immediately. Then I waited in my car until her parents arrived. As soon as I saw her father's car pull up, I left, turned off my phone, and drove away. I had already packed my things weeks earlier, just in case. That night, I sat alone, drank a couple of beers, watched TV, and for the first time in months, I felt calm, like it was finally over. Next morning, I turned my phone back on. Hundreds of messages. From her. From him. I didn't read a single one. But I did see messages from my parents and my brother. So I went to them and told them everything. They were shocked, silent, but they understood. Now she's blaming me, saying I ruined her first motherhood experience. She keeps calling, keeps texting. Even Noah messaged me saying we should set aside differences for her sake. That she fell back in love with me during the pregnancy, which is complete nonsense. If that were true, why was he still around? I honestly don't know what they think. But I'm done, and I'm not going back. Update 1. It's been about a week since the baby was born, and I'm still living in a hotel room. I haven't visited my wife once, and I don't plan to. She keeps calling and texting me, and honestly, I don't understand why. I made it very clear that I don't want to talk to her or hear anything she has to say. I haven't blocked her yet, but I did block my neighbor. He had the audacity to message me and remind me that my wife is still hoping I'll come back. I'm 100% convinced the only reason he's still with her and trying to convince me to forgive her is because he's hoping she'll still get some kind of alimony out of the divorce. Neither of them really has a stable income. For context, my wife, Vanessa, was a stay-at-home wife. I respected and supported that. But apparently, she wasn't just taking care of the house. She was also cheating on me behind my back. And that's unforgivable. And before anyone jumps on me, no, I didn't force her to quit her job. When we were dating, I supported her career ambitions. She worked. Later, she told me herself that she wanted to quit and focus on the home. That was her decision. I earn more than enough, so I didn't object. I'm pretty confident my lawyer will be able to get me out of paying alimony once we prove the cheating. And honestly, it shouldn't be that hard. As for my neighbor, Ethan, he's still struggling to make it in modeling. So covering his own expenses, plus my wife's and the baby's? Yeah, good luck with that. I'm just relieved I got out of this mess. I'm hoping she won't drag out the divorce, but given her complete lack of common sense, I wouldn't be surprised if she tries. I'm prepared though. I still have photos of the emails from her secret account saved on my phone and backed up on my laptop. Even if she deletes everything, she can't erase what I already have. Worst case scenario, I might still have to pay something. but at least I won't be with her. Honestly, she should consider herself lucky I gave her time to move out instead of forcing her out immediately. The house is in my name. For now, I'm hoping things calm down soon. Update 2. Well, I was right. My wife is an idiot. She decided to negotiate because she wasn't satisfied with the settlement I offered, which, by the way, already covered basically everything she spent during our marriage. Honestly, I thought it was more than fair. I don't even know what miracle she's hoping for. But hey, good luck to her. Yesterday she texted me saying she moved out. I happily went back home, thinking she probably went to stay with her parents or something like that. Nope. Turns out she moved in with Ethan, the neighbor, across the street. So now I get to see them every single day. For a moment, I actually considered going back to the hotel. But then I thought, why should I? That's my house. I have every right to live there. I'm not packing up my life just because they want to make me uncomfortable. I was curious why she didn't move in with her parents. Living with the guy she cheated with will absolutely hurt her case in the divorce. But then I found out why. While scrolling through unread messages, I noticed one from her father. I hadn't replied to a lot of people lately, so it got buried. It was a long message. He apologized for what his daughter did and said their whole family condemns her actions. That meant a lot to me. It actually hit me harder than I expected. He also told me they won't support her anymore, especially after she said she wanted to fight the divorce. Nothing she does makes sense to me anymore. Everything she's doing is clearly making things worse for herself. You'd think even someone like her would understand that. So either she's incredibly stupid, or she still has some twisted plan. I hope it's the first one. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the second. Living across from them will definitely cause problems. I'm sure they'll try to provoke me or make me jealous. But I'm not taking the bait, because I know anything I do can and will be used against me. On the bright side, I'm saving a ton of money by not living in a hotel anymore. Update 3. It's been about a month since divorce negotiations started, and things are not going well for my wife. I managed to prove the affair, and honestly, she made it easy by moving in with the guy I accused her of cheating with. So yeah, no doubts there. Then she tried to flip the narrative. She accused me of being an alcoholic, claiming that's why I became infertile, and that somehow justified her cheating. She also claimed that while we were trying for a baby, I became aggressive and abusive toward her. None of that held up. Everyone knows I quit drinking completely last year when we started trying for a child. I haven't touched alcohol since. I still don't understand why she thought that lie would work. It was honestly pathetic. I think she's just desperate now. Her original plan completely failed, and now she's too busy dealing with a newborn to come up with anything smarter. At this point, it's obvious she's very unlikely to get any alimony. Apparently, she told Ethan that too, because a few days ago, he kicked her out. Yeah. Literally. I heard yelling coming from their house. Then a few minutes later, I saw him throwing her out onto the street, with the baby in her arms, screaming insults at her. I was watching from my living room, but the moment I saw him shove her while she was holding the baby, I ran outside. Whatever happened between us doesn't matter. That child is innocent. By the time I got there, the door was already slammed shut. She was standing outside, crying, holding the baby. I took the baby from her and helped her back into my house. Then I called her father and told him to come pick her up. About an hour later, he arrived and took them with him, thanking me over and over. During that hour, she was crying like a child. I basically had to calm both her and the baby down. I wanted to call the police, but she begged me not to, said she didn't want more problems. She kept apologizing over and over, said she had been so blindly in love that she lost all her morals and self-respect. She said she regrets everything. She also said she'll accept whatever happens and won't fight the divorce anymore, just to get it over with faster. At least something good came out of this. I hope she files a report against him and gets her life together mentally. As for me, I did what I could. I handled everything the right way, and I don't regret it.